Good afternoon, good morning. It's Wes, the People's Pitmaster. We're fixing to get into it. We're live streaming this to Facebook to be released on Wednesday. Dyno, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. I'm going to jump over here and we'll get started. What's up, guys? It's Wes, the People's Pitmaster, back again with another episode of the Smoke Ring Syndicate. It's my weekly barbecue podcast that drops every Wednesday at 5:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Last week, we sat down and had a big, long chat. This week, we're headed out to California. We've got Dyno Dan on the line. Dyno, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. How you doing, Wes?
Man, I'm doing good, doing good. So Dyno Dan is part of my I guess you could say the four horsemen of barbecue. He's my West Coast influencer with his Underground BBQ business. How has that been? It's been a couple of months since we've sat down. What's the scene like for catering for you now?
Oh, it's been really good. It's been really good. Been doing multiple events, sometime on the same day, doing two catering events. It's been busy. It's been busy.
Really?
That's for sure.
So just still word of mouth and still underground, yeah?
Yeah. Still word of mouth, Instagram, and then as far as underground goes, just trying to stay below that radar, getting things done. Not quite ready to commit to doing this full time.
Yeah, I got you. So, well, I like I said, you're doing a lot of catering out there on the West Coast. I wanted to touch and kind of dive in a little bit on as far as catering. How are you figuring what your catering calculator? What do you need? Like beef, what do you need for pork? What do you need for chicken? As far as planning purposes for you.
So yeah, when I start an order with somebody, I try to understand how many sides they want, how many proteins they want, and then basically I go off the old. An average person could eat about a pound of food at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And so if they got something where they're doing two sides and two meats, then I kind of eyeball or guesstimate that each of those things will take up about a quarter of a pound on their plate. So that's how I do all my numbers. And then I'm always overshooting because I realize some people might take two portions of chicken over if it's chicken and pork, they might not eat pork. So they might eat more of a third of a pound to a half a pound of chicken versus, having chicken and pork.
Mm-hmm.
So, we know that brisket, from the original poundage when you buy it to the finished product, you're going to lose about, close to over a half of the weight during the trim and cook process.
Mm-hmm.
So I take that quarter pound a person, and on briskets, it's easy because if I'm going to lose over half, then, if it's a 50 people gig, I'm going to start by buying about 50 pounds of brisket.
Okay, so you're, I guess you could say raw weight on brisket, you're going a pound per person essentially.
Yeah. And then by the time that finishes, for 50 people, and if I buy 50 pounds, I'm hoping end product I'll have about 20 pounds of cooked meat, 20 to 25 pounds of cooked meat. And then, you do the math from there.
Yeah.
Pork, you lose a little bit less with pork, but pork also goes longer for some reason. Like when you shred it up,
Mm-hmm.
it goes a real long ways. So I run about the same numbers with pork. Chicken's a little different because you don't lose as much weight with chicken.
Yeah.
And our go-to, at least my go-to out here, is just boneless, skinless thighs.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so what I'll do is, if I got 50 servings I need, I'll buy about 25 to 30 pieces of chicken. And once I've cooked it, before I sauce it, I cut it up into halves, depending how big it is, or thirds.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll sauce it, and then I'll let that set. Because when someone's coming by getting chicken, if you give them a whole thigh, a lot of times they don't eat the whole thigh,
Yeah.
the boneless, skinless thigh. So I want somebody to be able to pick one or two pieces if that's what they want, or if they want more, they have the option to get more.
Yeah.
Or more than likely, they're not going to get more than one or two pieces.
Mm-hmm.
People just don't, especially when you're doing like buffet catering, they'll want a couple pieces of chicken, which is about, maybe a half a thigh, and
Mm-hmm.
then they'll want a couple pieces of beef, you know. So the way I cut the beef is, so when I slice the brisket, um, I'll do your slices off the flat, but then I'll slice that down the middle. So a full
That's
slice is actually two pieces rather than one.
okay.
And then the point, depending how tender it is, it'll either be shredded or it'll be sliced also. And then I always, I like to give people options as far as, um,
How they
if
want
they
to fill
want
their
the,
plate.
yeah.
Okay.
But you'd be surprised. Like, I'm always thinking, because I eat barbecue, everybody else must want as much as I do, but
Yeah.
a majority of the time, especially at these catering parties and stuff, they're not eating as much as us barbecue guys would eat.
Yeah. So how far are you traveling for caterings now? Just still staying right around your residence, which I won't disclose.
No, let's see. I went to Norco, which is about 45 minute to an hour drive. The spot I do out in Capistrano, that's a good hour 15. So I'll go I'll go pretty much 2 hours, 3 hours if the pay's right.
Yeah. Okay.
A lot of times the issue is getting the help out there. Like,
Yeah.
it's one thing for me to go, but if I'm gonna have people come out and just serve for an hour or 2 hours, making it worth their while to make that commute, to pay them the right amount of money
Yeah.
for 2 hours of work. That's usually the harder part.
Yeah. Well, it's getting the help. Good help's hard to find, right?
Right.
Or good help is you got to pay good help good money.
Yes, sir.
So you're
And
doing
I'm blessed because being in the SCA involvement out here, I know a lot of people that love barbecue and that love to help with events like this. So I'm able to pick people here and there.
okay. Cool. So we were talking about your driving distance to do barbecue events. Well, I mean, there's probably not too many. I wouldn't imagine spots in California that are. Well, I take it back. There are a couple spots that are worth the drive. What's the farthest that you've driven for barbecue, and what's the farthest you would go for barbecue?
Oh, to eat?
Yeah,
To just eat barbecue?
yeah,
I'd take a 3 hour drive to eat barbecue if it was really good.
okay,
So from that's here to San Diego, up north. That's probably as far as maybe Bakersfield. I do have a funny story about driving to eat. Um, when I was a kid, my dad wanted to go eat in Solvang. There was some kind of a barbecue place in Solvang that was really popular, and that's about, I think that's about a good 3 hour, 4 hour drive from here. And we drove there, had dinner, turned around and came back all on the same day. It was a lot of driving.
That's a good, like, that's a full day. So you get 3 hours. That's a good ride. I got a Harley, and back when I was able to ride a little bit more, my day job is not to the point to where it lets me have a lot of weekend free time. But it wasn't nothing for us to get on the Harleys and go, 3 hours one way, 4 hours one way. Like we did. We went from here to Adairsville, and it's like right at 3.25, 3.5, 3.25
Wow.
from here. And I went to Characters BBQ, Michael Characters spot up there, and definitely worth it. But I mean, we'll travel for barbecue for sure. We were actually talking about making a trip out to Texas and do kind of a Texas barbecue tour, and just basically just design a vacation around barbecue.
Yeah, for sure.
And I mean, that's got me thinking about doing a trip like that, just because of Miss Tootsie's birthday this past Friday out in Lexington.
Yeah.
Snow's barbecue. Have you been to Snow's?
No, I have not been to Texas actually.
Never, not even a little bit of Texas. Okay.
Not even a little bit. Um, so 2 weeks ago, me and a buddy took off to Fresno area,
Mhm.
which is about four, was it like 3.5, 4 hours? We went to go get a truck bed of wood, because wood's crazy expensive out here. And he just bought an offset smoker, and the wood prices out here are just crazy. So, long story short, through a coworker, found a guy out there. He's got a lot of property, and he's like, "Hey, come and get truck bed full of wood, $150, which is still a pretty good deal,
Yeah.
even with the 3, 4 hour drive." So this wasn't specifically, well, we stopped at a place in Fresno. A gentleman I've known through Instagram for a long time, goes by
Mm-hmm.
Megatex Barbecue.
Yeah.
I met him at a competition out here that Sterling Ball puts on, or used to put on every year. So long story short, we stop in Fresno. That's the only thing we ate on the whole trip, was at his little spot in a Arco gas station in a, what I would consider, shady part of Fresno. I wouldn't want to be there at night.
Yeah.
And yeah, we stopped and we ate. Man, he really treated us well, and the food was great, especially for just being in a gas station.
Yeah.
Like, he's not even allowed to have smokers running on site, so he's doing all this stuff somewhere else and bringing it in. But the
Yeah.
food was excellent. I definitely recommend, if anybody's going through Fresno, stop at Megatex. I think he's open Wednesday through Sunday, Wednesday through Saturday.
Yeah. I say
Yeah,
it's I don't, for whatever reason, Sunday and barbecue is just like nobody's open on Sunday except for like the big chains, like
yeah.
the Sunnies and that sort of thing. Um,
We have
Here,
a
I don't
smaller
know if
spot.
it's, say again.
So we have a smaller spot that stays open. I think he's only open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah, I told, I don't know if it's the same way out there, but like Sunday and Monday is basically the weekend for barbecue restaurants in this area. Like pretty
Nice.
much everybody's closed on Sunday, everybody's closed on Monday.
You're in Georgia, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm in Central Georgia.
So I made a purchase this week um, from Southern Q. You know them, Southern Q Smokers.
I know of them. I don't know who owns them.
Okay. Um, I was in the market for a larger gravity fed smoker,
Mhm.
and you know Georgia's that's where all that stuff was perfected,
Yeah.
with stumps and
You got
all the
Stumps,
different.
you got Assassins, you got
Yeah.
Deep South. Um, I,
So I
Argument wise, I would say probably Deep South would be probably one of the top.
yeah, Myron. You got Myron's stuff.
It, yeah, I don't know that his is made here in Georgia. I think they're still doing theirs in Connecticut.
Connecticut, right?
I think.
So I have a small Myron here, and
Hmm.
I've absolutely been loving the brisket I've been putting out on it. But it's the small one. It holds two. I might be able to do a third in there, but just with my catering stuff, I needed a larger one.
Yeah.
So when I start to look for a smoker, I'm I start doing research and I start comparing what you get, standard, what are the add-ons. So it came down to pretty much I was either going to bite the bullet and spend way more money than I had on another cooker from Myron's, or I was going to go this other route and buy this cooker from Southern Q Smokers.
Hmm.
A buddy of mine has a Southern Q smoker. It's called a Limo Junior, and if he was gonna do a custom job for me, I was gonna go with him because they didn't. They only have two models. One's really big, the other one's good medium size. But I needed to go taller with it so I could fit more
Yeah.
brisket. So I call them up, talking to the guys, really nice people, and he's like, "Yeah, we'll build what you want." So I went with a taller cabinet, 5 shelves, 5 inches apart, so I'll be able to fit 5 briskets front to back.
Yeah.
Depending on how wide it is, I might be able to do 10 left to right.
Yeah.
Um, so depending on the trim and the size of the briskets.
Yeah.
So they're 2 to 3 week build. We'll see.
Wow.
Every smoker company I've ever dealt with always tells you a certain build time, and it ends up being a little longer.
Yeah.
So, um,
Well, I mean, even saying 2 to 3 weeks, like that is, even if it's another week or two. I mean, look, there that's still faster than
yeah,
most.
Assassin was 8 to 10.
Yeah.
Um, but these guys say this is what they do. They build
Yeah.
smokers
Yeah.
day in and day out. I know Assassin is a second company to the major company.
Yeah.
Um, as my understanding, they have some kind of military contract with the real company, and the smoker side of that is kind of secondary.
Well, it kind of started that way, but then they started, and I don't know if they're still doing it, but they used to cut all the metal for stumps smokers.
Correct.
And they were doing like some of the fabrication, like the cutting portion of the fabrication. I don't know if they're still doing that or not. Don't quote me on that. Don't come from my head, Assassin or Stumps. Um, but that was my understanding is they used to do some of the cutting portion of the fabrication for their cookers.
Right, right. I thought they even used to build them for them at one time.
I wouldn't go out that far, but I've heard the same thing too.
So,
Um,
anyways, I had an Assassin. The stupidest thing I ever did was sell it. But it was during COVID, and a restaurant wanted it. They paid me good money, but in the long run, now with as much things cost now, it wasn't really that good money
yeah,
because it cost me a lot more to get it replaced. So,
Yeah.
anyways, ordered it. Um, we'll see. I'm a week in. They said 2 to 3 weeks, and then plus shipping's usually about 4 to 5 days from that area.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty excited, um, and I'll keep you up to date on that.
Yeah, like I said, I've heard that, but I don't know that I've. I mean, I would imagine gravity smokers kind of. It's my mind goes where my mind goes when you say gravity smoker. They're all very similar in looks. It's cabinet style, gravity feed shoot. Um,
Yeah,
pretty standard stuff.
pretty standard. Yeah, yeah, nothing too different about this one. It does have a little bit of rack space underneath, which a lot of them don't have that because their doors and everything goes straight to the floor.
Yeah,
But my problem has always been is I gotta fit it through a doorway to get into my little back patio.
yeah,
And like the smoker I just got rid of this week, um, it was a Lone Star offset smoker, the 36 by 24, and I mean it was tight,
yeah,
tight. So trying to find smokers that fit through that doorway is about 29 inches is what we have to work with
yeah,
without taking a bunch of stuff off. I mean, I've had to take off thermometers or even remove a door, but you're not, the footprint has always been an issue for me.
yeah,
So find a company that was willing to expand the cabinet of it higher to meet my needs, but not increase the footprint was really good to work with them.
yeah. Yeah, I'm excited to see that. I don't know. Like I said, I got an idea in my mind what it looks like and how it's set up. Um, you said it's got kind of storage space on the bottom too.
Yeah, it's got a little rack area underneath it, which like I said that's kind of unique with these kind of smokers.
Yeah,
Everyone I've seen or had has always, the doors have always gone really low where you don't have any rack space.
yeah,
Not that it's really needed, but I could see a little bit of benefit being able to maybe store some wood down there.
yeah. And maybe some wood storage down there, tools, or if you got cases, a case of something, you can toss it down there. But like that was always my thing with cabinet smokers is it goes all the way to the bottom, and I'm not a big fan of having to stoop over and get down, and I kind of like it to be on my level. So if this one that you're talking about sitting up a little bit higher,
Yeah.
uh, it definitely that sounds good.
So the guy I was telling you about, a buddy of mine that owns one, he developed these fire cups. I'm gonna show it on screen here. I don't know if you've seen this guy around social media lately,
Mm-mm.
but he has a limo junior, and he wanted an easier way to light the fire in his gravity fed.
Yeah.
So he started making these cups
Oh, I
where
have seen those.
they just sit on the inside. You light them. The burn time on these is about 15-20 minutes, and they get your bottom coal going.
Yeah.
So then once you have that established, um, you're basically close your door. If you use a fan, turn your fan on and get it going. Um, I'm I'm also sponsored by him with the SCA stuff I do.
Mm-hmm.
But he's starting to show up in all the barbecue stores now. Um,
All the right spots.
yeah, yeah, and he's always looking for more spots. So if you have any stores out in your area that you'd like to see a product like that,
Yeah.
at. You can always give them a message on Instagram.
Yeah.
Um,
Probably.
and
Why not? Why not barbecue in Dallas, Georgia? He's got a small little spot, and then Atlanta barbecue is the two big here in town.
okay, Atlanta, yeah, I've seen them. So yeah, he developed these for that, and he's got three different sizes. He's got like a big one that'll burn for like a half hour. It's a big one. He made that one more for like stick burner purposes,
Hmm.
and then he's got much smaller ones that are probably half the size of these, for smaller applications.
Yeah.
Um, I love them because one of the things that always deterred me from cooking with coal when I first started was the fire process, you know.
Yeah.
And I throw one under these under a chimney, put some coal in it, walk away. 15 minutes, I come back. I'm ready to roll. Like it's a good thing to be able to just have something quick like that. And I know they make tumbleweeds and things like
Yeah.
that are probably a little cheaper. But I know when I was using tumbleweeds, I was using three of them.
Yeah. You kind of have to stick three or four in there. They don't burn quite as long as they need to.
Right.
Um, I'm trying to remember. I don't remember the name of them, but the ones that B&B puts out, and I'm sure they're probably made by Duraflame.
Yeah.
Um, they burn forever, but it's like a brick.
Brick, right? Yeah.
I mean, it's like you light one end of the brick and just let it go,
Yeah.
and I mean it does great. But they don't. Let's think how to say that. It doesn't feel like a clean fire. If you know,
Right.
it feels like there's a lot. Like
Is that the fat wood?
um, that might be what I'm thinking of.
Okay.
The fat
Yeah, that
wood's
fat
also
wood burns dirty. Like,
yeah,
and it don't matter because you're not throwing that in your thing. But it,
yeah,
you know, I like these. They're 100% natural. You know, all that stuff people are concerned about. They're made with post oak shavings that he gets from a local wood place out here that's always processing post oak. So it's pretty cool. They're a good little product.
yeah,
Um, and like I said, I love them. They make it so much easier to get going.
yeah. You were saying fire cup, and you showed me the picture, and the first thing I thought of, and I don't know if you've seen them online yet or not, but like it's a prep. It's like a prep thing. It's like it almost looks like a cutting board that you can kind of push down, and it turns into a
Oh yeah,
tub.
yeah,
And I was
yeah.
like, that's what I thought you were going for. I was like, it's like a collapsible cup or something. So
Oh, oh.
it's not the first thing I thought of
Yeah. As a
whenever
matter
you
of fact, I got one of these right here. Somebody gave me.
the
Those are pretty cool. Yeah,
collapsible.
the collapsible one. They
I,
have a
I
lid.
yeah,
They're
I
made
think
by
I I think I like it.
and truthfully, they had one size forever,
Hmm.
and I waited at least 2 years because I thought they're eventually gonna make a bigger one, and I
Yeah.
always buy the bigger one. So then I finally bit the bullet and bought one, and then no kidding, a month later they come out with a bigger one. But
That's the way it
yeah,
goes, man.
they're nice because they have lids. You could trim, do whatever, and then if you just want to keep it in there, just put the lid on it. Wait till your fire's good. The bottom of it's like a cutting board, so you do have to be careful because the the things that help it collapse, you know,
Mm,
you can puncture those
yeah,
with a sharp knife, of course. So those are the only things you got to kind of be careful for them. But
yeah, yeah. I saw him at first, and I was like, I don't know if that if how that's gonna work. And I got more and more. I looked at him. I was like, actually, I think I need one of these. And
yeah, they also make easy drip buckets, which are like a cardboard bucket for your drip drippings. I want to say they just produced. what they're calling a brisket bag. So it's basically the insulated bags,
Hmm.
like shopping bags, but they're
Yeah,
like kind of insulated.
yeah.
So they made a brisket one that you can unzip and slide a brisket into to hold it.
So it's like a pizza bot. It's like a mobile pizza delivery bag for a brisket.
Yeah, I mean the profile's a little smaller, but yeah, they made some kind of a brisket holding bag like that. That's insulated. Um, I mean, I would just use an ice chest, or
Yeah,
I have Game Bros, so not really an issue for me. But yeah, a buddy told me about it. I looked it up, and they made like a brisket pouch type of thing.
yeah.
Yeah,
I love seeing all the different barbecue like tools and stuff that's coming out.
yeah,
The did you see the? I don't know if they're still. I'm assuming they're still out there. The flip fork. You know what I'm talking about? It's like a spatula with like a fork on one side and a knife on the edge of it.
yeah. I think Grill Spec is making that.
Yeah.
He was actually at my competition I put on in January. Uh, he came out, supported the comp. What did he bring to give away? He had another thing he brought to give away. He didn't have the knives in yet, the knife, spatula, fork things. He had another product,
Hmm.
but he's a really nice guy. He came out. He helped me physically put stuff together and make these packages for the winners and stuff. He's a nice guy.
Yeah. Yeah. So I wanted to kind of transition and how many different ways are there going to be to prepare poultry? Because at this point you've got whole, you've got folks that are roasting them whole. You've got spatchcock. You got folks that are cutting them, in half like the competition style. I saw a frog chicken
Yes,
a couple of weeks back where they're cutting up under the
yeah.
breasts and then like unfolding it, and it looks like a giant
I
frog.
am. I'm ashamed to admit I did the frog. I didn't do a video or anything of it because I hate trendy barbecue stuff. Um, I hate it when people smash the briskets to get juice to come out of them. There's just so much trendy barbecue stuff I don't like,
Yeah.
and I don't. I even forget why I did the frog thing. Um, but does there need to be that much? I mean,
I, I don't think so. Like the the frog for me kind of makes a little bit more sense, but I wouldn't go frog per se. I'd cut it all the way through to where that way I've got both the breast, which is all the white meat, and then all the dark meat is separate at that point. So you've got, two different types of meat and two different times to pull them off. So in that sense, it kind of makes a little, it makes a little sense to go that route. But I wouldn't leave them as the giant frog. I know it looks cool on the internet, but
right.
I don't think it's super practical. And then you've got folks that are breaking them all the way down, leg quarters, and then cutting the breasts out and cooking them that way. But I mean, how many more different animals are they going to come up with, and different ways are they going to come up with to cook chicken? Um,
Right.
I
Well,
saw
you gotta
some,
do something with chicken, right? It's kind of one of them.
yeah. Well, I love chicken, and like when I was catering, I would do, like if they did two meats, most of the time it was chicken and pork or pork and brisket. But if their chicken was included, if they called me for a second catering, almost all the time they would go, "We're going to do chicken this time and try brisket." They would keep the chicken and switch from the pork to something different, just because of the way I do my chicken. I guess it's
Okay.
just substantially different than what they had. But
Yeah.
I use a lot of dark meat in my chicken anyway.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I'm cooking, I'm cooking it pretty hot, pretty hard.
I
Like
did a I did a
175,
thing
180.
yesterday for my church. I just made chicken quesadillas. They were having an event and they wanted some lunch. And I use boneless, skinless thighs,
Hmm.
and people just, it's so moist and it's so this, it's so that. And I'm like, well, yeah, number one, I didn't overcook it like you're used to
Yeah.
getting chicken overcooked. And number two, I use the thigh. So they're like, that was thigh? I could swore that was the breast. And I'm like, no, no, that was thigh.
Yeah. I,
So
I let you land. Um, I had the same issue. My wife is like, I don't like the dark meat. I don't like the chicken thighs, and I grilled some chicken thighs, and I got boneless, skinless, and I just basically, instead of cooking them comp style, I unrolled them and I trimmed the extra little fat here and there off of them, and I grill them like regular grilled chicken, like you would a chicken breast, and pulled them off and diced them up, and she took them to work with her, and she's like, we were planning the menu out for the week this week, and she's like, "We need just more of that chicken that you did." I was like, "The chicken thighs." She's like, "Chicken breast, whatever it was." I said, "It was thighs," and she's like, "Really?" I said, "Really, really?"
yeah, which reminds me, I got to cook some of the rest of that today. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I got about
I use
15
this.
pounds of chicken to cook.
If you could find it, there's a asado rub by Flavor Knuckles, and stuff's excellent on chicken, man. I like to give it a good day, and wow,
Yeah,
it's got great flavor, um,
it's called what?
citrusy. It's called it's Flavor Knuckles is the brand of the rub, and it's the asado.
Mm-hmm.
It's a citrusy, Mexican style marinade, um, or rub,
Yeah,
which I like it because it's a rub. Most of the time, to get good flavor, that kind of flavor, you need to do like the wet marinade.
yeah,
But I didn't do the wet marinade. I just sprinkled this stuff on, let it sit a day, cooked it on a Santa Maria over some mesquite. Everybody loved it. So if you can find some of that Flavor Knuckles, that stuff's good.
yeah,
Stuff's really good. People are putting that on their tri-tips these days,
yeah.
um, giving the tri-tip a little more of a carne asada style flavor,
Mm-hmm.
which probably lead into our next topic
Yeah, yeah.
if we're gonna hit that. I know you.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to hit on one thing. We were talking about the different ways that you're preparing chicken. Um, have you seen this stingray steak?
No.
Okay, so it is and steak's doing the same thing though. It's the tomahawk, it's Thor's hammer, it's this, it's that, the different new cuts. Um, it is a tomahawk, thick, super thick tomahawk. They're cutting, if the steak is like this, they're cutting through the center and leaving the bone and then filleting it out. So it looks like a stingray with the bone coming up behind it.
Oh,
And
a guy, and I think this guy's from your area actually. Um, he was calling that the scorpion, like a
Scorpion,
scorpion.
I saw
Yeah.
it. I saw it last week, and it was the stingray steak. I was
Okay.
like, "Oh my god! What? How many more times are we gonna do this?" And then that's what got me kind of thinking about the topic about the different chickens and all the Thor's hammer
Yeah.
and I'm like, "Oh my god, guys!
Hey, before
I
we jump to the
can't."
next subject, can you
Yeah,
give me like 1 minute?
yeah,
Can we take a little pause real quick?
yeah, absolutely.
All right. Thank you.
Give me just a second. And guys, we'll be right back.
there?
And we're back.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. That is all right. We're coming up on the end here. So anything new in the California barbecue world over there?
So yeah, so SCA has been pretty strong here on the West Coast. California and Arizona kind of started that, but like Utah's in probably the last year and a half started hosting a lot of competitions. So there hasn't been as many SCA comps here this year.
Yeah.
So a gentleman named Freddie Roman, um, Freddie Meats on Instagram or Tri Cities Pitmaster on Instagram. He's hosted a few SCA comps, and so he designed a tri-tip competition called the King of Tri-Tip. And so it's going to be a 3-part competition. First one was here in Southern California a couple weeks ago. I wasn't able to compete because I was catering that day, but I did get to go to it towards the end and kind of watch some of my buddies actually get a couple walks and stuff, so that was cool.
Yeah.
The next one I believe is going to be in Central California, and then the last one will be in Northern California. And it's all designed to crown a king of tri-tip for the year. So it's really cool. Bolton, a guy named Bolton, he got crowned the prince at the Southern California one.
Mm-hmm.
He's a big SCA guy, highly sponsored, like serious competitor.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the newest competition thing here. Starting to see more KCBS really starting to get rolling again with different KCBS competitions. But I was really bummed that because it was actually a Easter weekend was that tri-tip one.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really bummed I was already booked for catering because I really wanted to compete. But it's a fun event. Not only are they doing just like straight tri-tip, you just hand in slices of tri-tip. They're doing ancillaries all around tri-tip also. So whatever you could put together using tri-tip as an ancillary, that's pretty cool also.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting that Georgia's got pork and Texas is kind of takes brisket as their their meat, and it seems like California has adopted the tri-tip, and it's interesting to see them kind of build a competition around the tri-tip just because tri-tip is a West Coast thing.
So yeah, I think it's due. It's due.
100%. I mean, it's as long as you guys share the tri-tips and don't drive the price up like a brisket, the rest of the U.S. will be okay with you guys doing the tri-tip.
Tri-tip, good tri-tip's already a little pricey, so.
100%, 100%. But I mean, you know how like the whole. Like the prime rib, the cost of prime rib is driven, sky high because of its popularity in certain times of the year. And just don't ruin tri-tip for the rest of us, okay? That's all I'm saying.
It was actually cool. They there's a local meat market, El Cortez Meat Market,
yeah,
that offered prime Creekstone tri-tips. I think it was if I remember correctly, like $5.29 a pound.
Oh wow.
So they offered it for this special event, you know. Well, me, the guy I am, I go in there and I'm like, I'll take 2 cases.
Yeah.
They're like, what? I said, I'll take 2 cases, you
Yeah.
know, because Creekstone, number one,
Yeah.
number two, Creekstone Prime.
Yeah.
You
And
just,
and at less than $6 a pound,
yeah.
that's a
So,
no brainer.
so I went in there, bought a couple cases. I mean, I use that stuff all day long for catering and stuff. So,
Yeah. So the tri-tip king of the tri-tip competition, are they? You said they're slicing it, and is it blind judged, like
yeah.
in
So it's
blind
all blind
models?
judged, just like an SCA. When in the beginning they come around, they give you your box, and then when you turn it in, uh, they'll give you a raffle ticket.
Mm-hmm.
They'll tape half of that raffle ticket to the box. You take the other half of the raffle ticket. Then they take that to the judges' room where they'll taste, you know, the 6 slices or whatever, and do the judging. So yeah, it's all blind. Um, to me, I mean, they're so. My understanding is the carne asada, more of the citrus-based marinated tri-tips are the ones that are doing really well.
Mm-hmm.
Which for me, that's not the style of tri-tip I like to cook.
Yeah.
like like for me, I want I want tri-tip. I don't want carne asada flavored tri-tip.
Yeah.
But that seems to be what the judges like.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I mean, I can't fathom, like I'm just trying to place myself as a judge. Like, you're bringing me tri-tip that was already sliced, and it's coming down to room temperature pretty quick, and I mean, like the SCA, at least you're cutting it at the table.
Yeah,
So it's very interesting that they're sending sliced tri-tip instead of like a whole tri-tip.
true, true. And maybe that's something they'll change in the future.
Yeah.
But a lot of times these competitions are always improving as they're going on. So
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, the SCA did the same thing. They started, and I think it's the PCA, the Pizza Championship, that just started.
oh,
It's
didn't know about
competition
that.
pizza. Have you seen
Really?
that?
No.
It's I think the first one was here in Georgia, and it's like it's competitive pizza. Um, but I'm not 100% sure who started it or how that's going, but I think it's PCA, and it's like Pizza Championship Association or something like that. And
Interesting.
I have no clue any of the rules or regulations or anything like that, or nor am I affiliated with them. But I did see I saw some of the whisperings of that on social media about a new pizza competition. Um,
Wow. Okay.
and the first person I thought of was Bobby T, just because he's got his pizza stuff that's coming out, and I had asked him if he was going, and he had something else that was going on the time that the first competition they were having, but I was like, this is going to be something to watch, because I mean, like, what the SCA did, and going from like this just little bitty state competition to like they're massive.
Yeah.
Like
Huge.
it's crazy how big that's got.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So back just for a second, and we'll kind of wrap it up. Um, the tri-tip competition, I make the assumption they're cooking tri-tip the way tri-tip should be cooked, and not doing it brisket style. I'm hoping.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I don't think anybody did a brisket style tri-tip for that.
That's it. I was just sitting here thinking because, you've got so many people on social media going, "Oh, it's brisket style tri-tip, and it's the best thing ever." And I'm like, "Bro, you're ruining the tri-tip. Step away from the smoker. You've breathed
Yeah,
far too many fumes. It's time to step away."
I agree. I agree.
So I mean, and don't get me wrong, I'm not going to turn away some beef, but I don't think that's the way that cut should be cooked. And
I agree.
I can't wrap my head around. I mean, like I understand it's a thick, it's a very dense muscle, and like, it could use some time to break down, but like I mean, it's a super lean. Tri-tip's pretty lean. I can't imagine if there's enough moisture in it to do a low and slow on it.
Yeah,
That's,
like unless you're using that high quality prime stuff, but yeah,
yeah, maybe if you're going like a super prime or wagyu, maybe, but like it's tri-tip to me is when you say tri-tip, there's a particular flavor that's in my mind, and it is not salt, pepper, garlic, brisket flavor. Like it's the I can get behind the carne asada, but it's like it's on a Santa Maria cooker, and it's just that's what it is to me.
yes, that's what it should be.
Mm-mm-mm. All right, man. Well, I will let you get out of here. Any upcoming stuff outside of the King of the Tri-Tip?
Um, no, I mean there's going to be a couple SCAs at the barbecue HQ on the back side of the year. And I know they're going to do an SCA on the beach actually, Ventura in Ventura later this year. Also, I'm hoping to get out to those if I don't have any catering, but um, just pretty much catering.
Yeah. So, you had said early on you're kind of you're not ready to make that step. Is that you're still going to keep the day job, or
Yeah,
okay,
yeah. The benefits where I work is just too much to
too
let
much to
go.
walk away from?
I will just one other thing before we leave. Somebody asked me to make them some Chinese barbecue
Some char siu?
pork,
Yeah,
char
yeah,
but they wanted me to smoke it. They wanted me to smoke it, and it's specifically for a graduation party.
yeah.
So I did a test run last week with it. Came out really good, even though I scorched the bottom. I was able to cut it off, and the meat still came out really good. Definitely different flavor than what we're used to as far
Oh
as
yeah,
barbecue pork goes. It was more sliced um, barbecue pork, but hey, man, I'm encouraging everybody to just try different flavors
oh yeah.
because I
Well,
was really impressed.
yeah. Well, that same style on chicken thighs is awesome. It's really good stuff.
Yeah,
Um, and it's not a smoked per se, but it would be perfect over like a Santa Maria grill, and you get a little smoke from your fire as you're cooking, and just kind of you're cooking it like a carne asada, flipping it, keeping it moving, super hot, super fast.
yeah, yeah. It was great. I mean, I was impressed. I kind of surprised myself.
Yeah,
I was thinking, nah, this
yeah,
ain't gonna work. But the guy came for to taste it, and he's like, hey, can I just buy the rest of that and take it home?
yeah,
And I was like,
absolutely.
well, I did cook it for you, so
Yeah.
But
Well, we
try
did.
it.
Say again.
I said, try it, man.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah. Well, we did. My wife and daughter love Thai food, and they go to this one little place out in Peachtree City. It's about 40 minutes from us, and they have a dish called Mu Ping, and it's basically grilled pork with like a Thai seasoning. It's got some coconut milk and all this different Thai flavors in it. And I was like, I feel like I could do this. I know I could do this. I've eaten it a couple of times. I know what flavors that I'm picking up on. And, did a little research and pulled up some recipes and did it. And I just took pork butt and chopped it up, put it on skewers and marinated it, let it set and marinate, and cooked it on the Rectech, and just grilled it up. And I was really afraid because it's pork butt, and like you really want to cook pork butt, pretty low and slow most of the time. But I went hot and fast, and I kind of pulled it about, like 135, 140, and I was like, I really hope this is not like shoe leather. But with all the marinade in it, it was awesome.
Oh,
It was
nice,
awesome.
nice. Yeah.
All right, man. Well, I'll let you get out of here, and we'll
All
catch
right.
you next time. Man, I appreciate you hanging out with me.
Yeah.
Donna, hit your socials for my listeners.
Yeah. So, Instagram, Facebook, Dyno Dan Smoking, DYNO DAN. And then I do have a YouTube channel, but haven't posted much there lately. But that's also Dyno Dan Smoking. And yeah, hit me up.
Awesome, man. I will let you
Smoke
get
meat every
out of
day.
here. Huh?
I said smoke meat every day.
Smoke meat every day. Appreciate you, man.
God bless.
See. And that'll put this week's episode of the Smoke Ring Syndicate in the books. Shout out to my guest this week, Dyno Dan from California. It's always a pleasure to sit and chat and catch up. And until next time, keep smoking.